K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we're expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at advertise@k98talk.org. The leader in talk radio on the Internet, right here on K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
It got up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
They say we offer simple answers to complex problems. Well, perhaps there is a simple answer. Not an easy answer, but simple.
It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground.
We have serious problems to solve, and we need serious people to solve them.
Republicans and Democrats.
All right, folks, good morning. Happy Saturday. It is just a few minutes past the hour of 9 right here in beautiful downtown Oklahoma City. I am Rick Robinson, joined today by the host that started it all with me, Mr. Dave Brown, as well as Mr. Bryce Robbins. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
You almost said evening.
Yes, I did.
Shut up. It's not evening time. Are any of us actually in downtown Oklahoma City?
You know what? Shut up.
But it is nice today, man. Fall is finally here. And thank God, even though it's going to get up to like almost 80 in a couple days. Damn Oklahoma weather. How are things in the great state of New York there, Bryce?
New Jersey, but it's all good.
That's close enough.
Yeah, close. Same thing. Everything's good.
So wait, hang on, wait. I get griped at for opening the show the way I always open the one that I do in the evening times. And when you pop off with New York and he's in New Jersey, that's close enough. What the hell?
It's far away. Who cares?
All right, sorry,
I've never
Bryce,
been
go
there.
ahead.
No, it's good. You know, our governor's not doing anything, just like normal, so nothing to complain about.
So, quick question for you, Bryce. Since you are from the great state of New Jersey, who is your favorite musical act ever to come from New Jersey?
He's not going to answer that in a way you like. You know that, right?
I'm honestly curious. I mean, there's a ton of great musicians and bands that have come out of New Jersey, so.
I guess. Who? Didn't Frank Sinatra come from New Jersey?
Frank Sinatra.
Didn't he come from New Jersey?
That I don't know. I'm like, but how old are you?
I don't know. I like listening to his music sometimes.
Is there like a 90-year-old stuck in your 17-year-old body?
There might be.
If you're just now figuring that out, you haven't listened to the show very much.
Well, to be fair, I haven't listened to the show. I apologize.
And I was right. Yeah. I like him. Why not?
What about Bruce Springsteen?
Oh yeah, he's good. He's good. I don't really listen to too much like rock and roll.
What the hell is wrong with these people?
Yeah, I'm weird.
I think somebody has an ad playing. I thought it was me,
Obviously.
but I can't find it.
Not me.
It is not me today.
Yeah. Oh well. I'm not sure. Oh well.
Wow. So what kind of music
you
do you
don't listen to rock and roll? What are you, a polka guy?
No, in all honesty, I don't listen to too much music. I mean, I listen to like some classical music, and I always get flack for that. But
so basically, what you're saying is you are a polka guy. Okay.
Yeah, basically. And I'll listen to like whatever's on the radio when I'm driving or whatever.
Gross.
Oh, now, I forgot you can drive. New Jersey.
When you're on, well, granted, I'm sure New Jersey radio is far better than Oklahoma radio, but when you're listening to the radio, are you listening more to like news talk, NPR type stuff, or are you listening to music radio?
I listen to NPR until my friends get in the car, and then they say change it, and then I change it. So yeah, then I listen to like whatever's on the radio.
So Dave, back to your first comment, there really is a 90-year-old trapped in his teenage body.
Sounds like it. So now, are your friends political junkies like you are? Are they into the same things that you're into? Music aside.
Some, not really. My best friend, though, you would love. He's the biggest music fan ever. He's in a band. Like most of my friends are in this band together, and they do all types of music, and they love rock and roll, and it's their life.
Interesting.
Yeah, I should bring him on the show.
Yeah, you should. Combine this with that picture of you in the bow tie on the Facebook, man. It's getting a fascinating picture that is Bryce Robbins. Wow.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're kind of young to be all hoity-toity, but hey, it's good. It works for you.
Hey, in the words of Matt Smith's version of the Doctor, bow ties are cool.
Hey, that's right. Bow ties are cool.
Okay. If you say so. Wait, Matt Smith, he was, oh yeah, I never watched Doctor Who.
It's because you're not cool.
I'll be honest, Doctor Who's way too long for me. I watched it once with my friend Juan Jun. We have a lot of Asians in our area. And he loves this show. But I just couldn't do it. It's 45 minutes. I'm a millennial. We don't have that kind of attention span.
Oh, Jesus. We're screwed. Yet you can listen to a 2-hour-long debate and be riveted.
But 3 hours and 30 minutes.
Oh, God, help me.
No, in all honesty, I was very upset when like Lincoln Chafee was talking about his dead dad or whatever.
Thankfully, I didn't get to that part. Oh, geez, that sounds awful.
Sorry. No, it was really weird. He just goes, well, my dad's dead. My dad died, and I was just voting.
Yeah, so speaking of the debate, I was just playing it in the background while I was doing other stuff. So I was mostly hearing like voices and not really watching it. And at one point there was one of them was like, one of the guys, I forget who it was, he was like, yeah, I'm over here. I've been waiting to talk for 10 minutes.
Jim Webb. That's Jim Webb.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was Jim Webb.
I was like, you poor schmuck. And then was he the one? He's the one that used to be a Republican and then was an independent, right?
No, that's Lincoln Chafee.
That's Lincoln Chafee.
That was Anderson Cooper was like, well, the only thing you haven't been is a socialist. You've been a Republican. You've been a guy. I was like, okay, that's pretty funny. I will give what little I heard of this. Anderson Cooper seemed to seem to give all of them equal amounts of crap.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was one of the better moderators I've ever had the opportunity to watch.
I have to admit, I watch Anderson Cooper from time to time. I'm not a huge fan, but I have to admit, I did like the fact that he did not only try to keep them to their time limits, because you could hear him all the time going, "You've exceeded your time, and the other one of them was like, "Yeah, you let this other guy talk for like 10 more minutes, so shut up."
That was also pretty funny.
But yeah, he did. Overall, I think he did a pretty good job.
Like, what was it? Hillary in the beginning. He asked such a good question. It was to really put her in her place. And now I'm forgetting it. It was
the one about her changing her mind.
Yes, that was it. He said, the TPP, the gay marriage, everything. You change your mind to, and it always benefits you politically. Are you just doing it like for your own political benefit? And then she answers the question. That wasn't my question. Answer my question. It was very good.
Hillary Clinton. Polls aren't just for dancing anymore.
So, we all watched
really
it,
gross.
right? I mean, Dave, you kind of saw some of it, right?
Yeah, I heard some of it.
Who was the winner so far for you? And Rick, who is the winner for you?
As far as an overall winner for the debate, I don't really know, honestly. I was actually relatively surprised I managed to make it all the way through, because here's my thing. Hillary Clinton started talking, and I heard the witch from The Wizard of Oz. Bernie Sanders started talking, and I heard Jim from Taxi. So, I don't know. I just kind of zoned out most of it, just to be honest.
I would say that, most of them actually all sounded better than I thought they would. They each, I have a hard time with Hillary. I just don't, there's so much water under that bridge that as much as I would kill to have Bill back in office. I don't trust her. She scares me a little bit. I would say overall, I think Bernie won. But none of them looked like blithering idiots, I thought.
Yeah.
And I've listened to about 50 minutes of it. So this YouTube video that I've got here is 2 hours and 3 minutes. So I'm a little less than halfway through it. One thing that I will say that was nice about this compared to what I saw of the Republican debates, which albeit is not much, clips here and there, but they weren't like ripping into each other and throwing insults and slurs or anything like that. It was just a pretty respectful, debate of issues, and so that was kind of refreshing. And Democrats aren't even known for doing that. There have been some really feisty, nasty Democratic debates before. So this was I liked it from what I've seen of it so far. Am I going to continue watching listening to the rest of it after we're done with this show?
Probably not.
Maybe. My mom was a big Democrat, and she, after the debate, she sent me an email saying, you've got to listen to this. This gives me hope for the party and for the future. So I'm like, okay, well, I will probably listen to the rest of it. On that, as far as I'm not deeply listening, because at the same time I've been working on the next episode of the Fringe podcast, which I haven't done one in like a week and a half because I've been so freaking busy. So I've been doing that. So what?
Slacker.
Yes, true. But in my defense, the new fall season of television shows have started, and they are awesome.
Which shows?
Arrow, The Flash, Supernatural, Vampire Diaries, Blackish, and we've also started watching Scream Queens, and The Muppets, and I will start watching Supergirl when that comes out. Though I don't think it's going to be on Hulu, so it's going to be a pain in the ass to watch. And if/when Lucifer ever debuts, I'll watch that. Yeah. So that's been my viewing pleasures, and even then, it's because on top of that, I watch let's see, I watch Monday Night Raw, NXT, Lucha Underground, or no, wait, Lucha's not on right now, but it will be. Ring of Honor. So that right there that's at least 4 hours of wrestling every week. Plus there are a couple shows on the WWE Network. There's a show called Table for Three where they get 3 guys or 3 ladies. And they sit them down in an empty restaurant, have them eat, and basically just shoot the shit. And it's great. So that's a half hour. So I'm watching at least 5 hours of wrestling every week as well.
Yeah, but that's kind of work now, isn't it?
It is, but I'm trying to make sure that it's not just work because I do it for fun. Yes, I take notes as I'm going along. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I also watch, I've been going back and doing a flashback segment, and I'm watching old episodes of Monday Nitro, and that's been fun. So go back and watch old WCW episodes, and if I get to the point where it's time for whatever their next pay-per-view is, I'll watch that. So that's at least another hour to 3 hours, depending on the week.
So, yeah, basically what he's saying is he's figured out a way to take up the majority of his time watching TV. No, I'm just playing. Actually, that's not too inaccurate, actually. But yeah, so anyway, I have to admit, if it wasn't for a DVR, I probably wouldn't be keeping up very well at all. And I'm glad I have one because the few shows I do watch are actually really good this year. But back to the debate for a second, because I guess the one thing that honestly kind of surprised me, and this is full well knowing that Jim Webb is a bit of an odd duck, but I've never heard of anybody that could actually be termed as a democratic constitutionalist before. It was kind of odd.
I didn't get to that part, but I don't think I think the concept that someone who is a member of the Democratic Party is anti-constitution is a misnomer. And it's great. What's the word I'm looking for? It's great. Malarkey for one, but it's great talking points, but there's very little truth behind it.
Well, I don't misunderstand what I mean. I'm talking about, a lot of the Democratic Party has this concept that the Constitution is this living, breathing document that changes over time. Most of us that are on my side of the aisle kind of look at that like it's malarkey. So hearing it...
Well, that's because you're wrong.
So that's your answer? That's because I'm wrong? Really?
Yeah. I'm just throwing the gauntlet down. Throwing it down.
Careful.
How you like them apples?
You've only got one gauntlet. Don't lose it.
Hey, now. Hey, I was going to say you've only got one good eye, but you got the panorama action going on, so... So you actually got an improvement there.
Oh. I have missed your sense of humor. We don't talk enough anymore.
Aaron to each other, Jesus.
What?
No, actually, this is Dave and I. We're not tearing into each other at all right now. We're just joking back and forth.
I can see it. I like the back and forth. I'm just sitting here listening, enjoying it.
Yeah. Yes. This is cultivated by many years of knowing each other and giving each other nothing but hell.
So speaking of giving each other, or at this point, giving everybody hell, did anybody else almost, because I happen to have been taking a drink of my beer right as Hillary Clinton mentioned that she was in the middle taking it from both sides?
Oh, God, they didn't take it that way.
She didn't say that.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No, she actually kind of did.
Yes, actually, she said pretty much that way. I'm in the middle and I'm getting it from both sides. It's not the exact words, but it's pretty damn close. And I about spit beer all over my floor, so I'm glad I wasn't.
Oh, God, that's so gross. So, no, when I heard her make that comment, I heard it was kind of she was making an allusion to her being like a moderate. And I think that was her intention there. Or even though she was trying to say, I'm this great progressive. But I think she was trying to say, that she's a moderate. But, thank you for that awful, awful image now of her getting piled on by those 4 dudes. Oh, just threw up in my mouth a little.
Yeah, I'm just like disgusted because I'm thinking about like Bernie Sanders, and then I think she was talking about Jim Webb, and then her and I'm really grossed out.
Yeah, exactly. Me too.
Wow.
God.
It's not even like 10:30 yet, and I feel like shit.
I have that effect on people a lot. Don't worry. You'll get used to it.
That might have been one of the... Ew. Like, as much as I love Bernie, ew.
Well, apparently Hillary liked Bernie, too. I'm just saying.
Oh, apparently. You gotta wonder, though, how much did she like the burn? How much of that burn did she feel? And where did she feel it? But that's a whole other story.
Wow.
It devolved so quickly.
So, anyone want to listen to NPR?
Poor Bryce over here. He's all Mr. Prim and Proper with his bow tie. Talking to these two creepy old men. Like, what the fuck am I doing, man? What you guys doing to me here?
Oh, I feel like it's only a matter of time before I crack.
All right. Well, I do have a pretty long clip that I actually want to play in regards to a story that I found this morning that would actually kind of fit in with just how crazy this show has gone already. So I think we're going to go ahead and take the break a couple minutes early, get it out of the way, come back, and play the clip. What's up? You're yelling.
Wait, I have to tell you guys something. Oh my goodness, how could I forget? So, yesterday in the mail, I got my Bernie Sanders t-shirt and lawn sign. So.
Oh, yeah.
My house is now feeling the burn. My shirt is now feeling the burn.
Is your face feeling the burn?
No, but Hillary's was.
All right, let's go to break.
That's where I was going with that. Satan, here we come.
Seriously?
Shining up that seat for me right now. He's like, I just got an order for a special seat for a guy with a bit of a wobble and some panoramic vision. I'm going to start shining up now. He's right next to you, Dave Brown. Great. For all of eternity, I get to sit next to Wobbles. Yes, sir. It's going to be a fun train ride.
And on that note, we'll be right back, folks.
It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground.
The internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Wow! Good God, y'all! What is it good for? Absolutely! Get started again.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Wondering why you're up early with us on a Sunday morning making a cocktail? News lately got you drinking? Hungover from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are, and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and oh yeah, news with booze.
And a lot of laughter.
Welcome to Bloody Marys and Broadsheets.
The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program America Off the Rails. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
Our military service members volunteer to protect us in the most dangerous places around the world. They step up. And when they are severely ill or injured, returning to their families is only the beginning of their long road home. Wounded Warrior Project provides these brave men and women whatever they need to continue their fight for independence at no cost for life. So now it's time for a grateful nation to step up. Join us at findwwp.org.
It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground.
So is it common ground?
I don't know. Sure. Is it? I'm not sure. All right. So since the show devolved so quickly, we took break a little early. And now we're going to come back and actually play an audio clip I found related to a news story that honestly had me almost spitting out my coffee this morning. Now, I do have to warn you, this show is not one of the ones that goes over to terrestrial folks. There is going to be some language in this audio clip, and it is not edited. So just as a heads up.
But we told you he's an Article 4 free inhabitant, so he does not have to have a license. This is on recording. Article 4, free inhabitant, pursuant to the Articles of Confederation. You can look it up. It's in the United States Book of Codes. It is your laws you have to follow.
All right, I will do that. I want to walk you back here.
Article 4, free inhabitant, pursuant to the Articles of Confederation.
Put the camera down for me. Is that if it records, that's fine. But I don't want you holding anything.
No weapons. No weapons. All right. No.
Okay. So what I'm going to ask you to do is the same thing.
And get out of the car?
Yes.
No, I'm not getting out of the car.
All
you
right.
can go get your superior.
Well, I am going to tow this car, and you cannot be in the vehicle while I'm towing this vehicle.
Well, if you go get your superior, he'll clarify
right
that he can be set free because he does not have to have a license.
That's not going to happen right now, young lady. So either you're going to come out of the car on your own free will, or I'm going to assist you.
I'm going to get out of the car and walk down to that house.
No, you are not free to leave right now.
Are you saying you have authority over me?
Yes, I do.
You have proven authority over me.
Yes, I do.
How did you do that?
The County of Imperial through the sheriff.
You do not have authority over a human being, over a free inhabitant.
Do you want to argue the point?
You need to go look up your laws.
I don't have to look at anything right now. What I need to do is get you out of the vehicle. If you have identification, please hand the identification over to me.
No.
Identify yourself to me.
And I'm not going to step out of the vehicle.
All right. Well, you know, you are impeding my investigation. You are delaying me, which is a penal code violation in the state of California.
That law only applies to U.S. citizens.
Well, where are you a citizen of?
I am not a U.S. citizen.
Well, see, that's
I am a free inhabitant. I am of the earth. I do not belong to any corporation. I do not belong to any country.
Yeah, but as long as you're in the sovereign states of the United States, you will abide by the rules and laws.
See,
and you have certain protections.
a free inhabitant is they are allowed to. They're free people. They have all of the rights of a U.S. citizen without following any of their laws.
Well, that would just be pure anarchy if that were the case.
No, because we're peaceful people. We're peaceful people. You go call them up and ask them, and they'll tell you exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, I don't know who to call.
Your superior.
Well, I am a superior to a certain extent.
So call your superior.
Well, it's going to take a couple hours or so for somebody to come down.
Well, just
and that's
call
not going to
them.
happen right now.
Well, then we're going to have to solve it some other way.
All right.
We just need to, you need to call in, tell them I'm a free inhabitant, and find out what that is.
Well, I am going to tow this vehicle, young lady, so you cannot be in this vehicle.
I understand that. So all right, then I'm going to get out of the vehicle, and I'm going to walk down to that house because you do not have authority over me. Well, then I'm not getting out of the vehicle.
No, you're not.
Why?
You're not free to leave.
Why?
As soon as I conclude the rest of my investigation, you will be free to leave. As far as I know, you have not done anything wrong at this point. But you are slowly reaching to that point to 148 PC.
I'll get out of the vehicle for you. I will get out of the vehicle. I'm getting Mama.
All right, well, you're not free to leave.
You're
going to take the bag off.
No, I'm not.
You're going to take the bag off.
No, I'm not.
Relax your...
Hey! You're raping me. This is rape. This is rape. This is rape.
Relax.
Okay.
Relax your arms.
It's relaxed.
Stop fighting with me.
It's relaxed.
Stop fighting with me. Stop fighting.
All right? Okay. I'm not fighting.
Center 2, 5, 6. I got a combative X-ray.
Here, I'm lifting my
Can
arm
we
up.
say a few
It's hurt. Okay, I told you what I was doing.
This is pain compliance, okay? It's not meant to be comfortable.
This is
Do
illegal.
I have your attention?
This is completely illegal.
Left your arm.
No! Take my bag off!
I can't.
You're not putting me in the car. You can wait till you get to Superior. You are not taking my bag off. You can handcuff me with my bag on.
You're right. I will. Relax.
I'm relaxed. Don't touch my bag! You touching my bag! You're gonna get in so much trouble, you son of a bitch! You're gonna get sued! You don't even know what you're doing! I'm telling you, I'm
Young
gonna
lady,
fucking sue you!
Stop.
What's your name? Our fucking Godona, you're gonna get arrested. You're gonna get fucking... Oh my god, you don't know your own laws!
Relax, young
You
lady.
don't know your own laws!
Relax, young lady.
I can't believe you just did this.
You need to calm down.
You're gonna get in trouble. You don't know your
Wait,
own
so
laws.
she's freaking out because he took her
You're
bag.
illegally doing this. I told you
Yeah,
I
a
was a
little
free
bit.
inhabitant.
Calm down.
You are illegally doing this.
Young lady,
Just have
calm
like
down.
some creepy porno.
You are illegally doing this. I told you this is against my will. You did this illegal. You cut my bag.
All right, you're under arrest.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Give me my stuff.
Relax.
No.
You're
Leave
under
me alone.
You can't have this big camera around.
You can go get your superior.
I will
go
call
get,
somebody,
and I'm
but not
waiting
right
right here. Go get your fucking superior. You son of a bitch! Give me my fucking stuff. You fucking asshole!
You need to calm down.
You need to fucking learn your goddamn job because you don't know your fucking laws.
Someone
go get
forgot
your
their
superior and go get your
red
fucking
leg.
laws.
Let's go.
No. You son of
Why
a
did you quote the article? Sorry.
Oh my god, you son of a...
Okay, so that's...
And yet someone took the time to upload this to the internet.
Actually, it was an entire article around the story in the first place.
I have 2 things to say to that. One, I wish she just took her seatbelt off because the annoying thing kept going. So that bugged me like the whole video. And second, the articles in Confederation. What? Like, how does a cop even respond to that? Like, excuse me, ma'am, those are 200 years old and they don't exist anymore.
And, well, I mean, my thoughts on this, first of all, is what the hell is a free citizen of the world? And secondly, hats off to the cop for not just pepper spraying the chick like 3 minutes in, because I think I'd have just been like, get the hell out the car.
I will give. I'm going to give that cop a lot of props because that could have turned into something ugly and viral in really easy, and he handled that very well. He was very respectful to her. He was very calm and patient. He never yelled at her. He never raised his voice. He was just like, "No, this is what we need to do. No, I'm sorry. You need to do this. No, okay, I'm arresting you now. Okay, no, this is pain compliant. It's not supposed to be comfortable. No, stop, please." The whole time, I mean, it was like, wow, can we get more cops like this? And maybe they wouldn't be so hated if all people had with the police were that pleasant, even when someone is being a complete nut bar.
Dude, we're talking seriously about a half a dozen beers shy of a six-pack.
Yeah, that was odd. I really don't know quite what to say about that. She was I'm picturing, and please don't take this in any offense or as a slight of your generation, Bryce, but I'm picturing someone who is in, probably early 20s, probably someone who was very entitled, millennial with tons of gadgets, and just thinks that her poop don't stink. And
why would I take offense to that? That's exactly what I was picturing.
Okay. Just making sure. So yeah, it's every bad stereotype of millennials. It's like right there.
Yeah.
So can I say one other thing? And I'm probably going to get hate mail over this, but I have to say it anyway. The boyfriend gets my props for not slashing his wrists for having that chick talking to him for longer than 3 minutes and still breathing. Because seriously, like 3 minutes after hearing her voice, I just really wanted to just go find something sharp and end it all.
You have this reaction a lot when hearing things, I've noticed. I'm going to need you to work on that, sir.
Usually just shrill, annoying people that sound...
Then how do you enjoy listening to Mark Levin?
I don't...
You talk about shrill and annoying.
I actually don't. I haven't listened to Mark Levin in months. When he started coming out... I mean, I know that all of the talk show hosts that are on major networks always say, you know, I'm not supporting anybody, I'm just trying to bring you the whole story, blah, blah, blah. When he started putting out all this pro-Trump crap, I was done. I am not a Trumpkin, never going to be a Trumpkin, and I can't do it, because to me, at this point, we are, and this is going back to the debate again for a second, but if this goes where I think it's going, we're going to have basically the antithesis of everything that I believe America stands for on a single stage, because we're going to have somebody with completely socialistic tendencies versus somebody who's basically a crony capitalist oligarchist idiot, and I don't like that concept, and that seems to be where we're headed.
It will be. That will be very entertaining if it ends up being the Trumpster against Bernie. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind which one I'm voting for, Bernie Sanders, because Donald Trump just scares me. I can't. I mean, okay, so on the one hand, is he refreshing in that he takes no crap and that he says what's on his mind without a filter? Yes. Yeah, that is refreshing. Trying to picture that in a situation where he's honestly dealing with heads of state, where he's dealing with heads of the economy, and having that kind of, well, if you don't like it, screw you attitude is terrifying. You can't buy the world, Mr. Trump. Well, maybe you can. Maybe he is that rich. But it's who is it? Joey Numbers from Wrestling Soup posted on Facebook something that said along lines of the presidential election of a race between Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump will be like WrestleMania of politics, and it will be entertaining and it will be scary. Yeah, and you're right. A lot of there's so many people whenever I do turn on like AM talk radio that are so pro-Trump. I've heard Glenn Beck is talked pro-Trump.
No.
Do what?
No. He is completely anti-Trump.
Okay, I've heard him say, I don't listen to him a lot. I've heard him say some pro-Trump things, or I've heard him attack people who are anti-Trump. I've heard who's the chick that plays Laura Ingraham. I've heard her say some kind of pro-Trump things. I thought, but again, I'm not listening to this stuff very often because, you know, I pull a Ricky here as soon as I hear it for too long. I want to, you know, poke my eyes out and gouge out my eardrums because it's mostly hot air and nonsense.
Oh no! See, I don't want to gouge my eyes out. One of them's already damaged enough. I don't want to make it any worse, man.
Do you guys think Joe Biden's running for president?
No.
No? What about you, Ray? Dave?
I don't know. There's so much. It's so interesting because you hear all these pundits, and one of the few like political emails I still get is I'm on Dick Morris's daily email list. And periodically I'll listen to his lunch videos. And he talks a lot about how if Bernie Sanders is the nominee, then he is going to lose in a landslide to whoever the Republican nominee is. And that Hillary is done for, and that it pretty much the party is just waiting in the wings, essentially waiting for Biden to throw his hat into the ring. I like Joe Biden, but I don't think he would be a good president. I mean, he probably would have done a better job than Obama, but in and of itself, that's not saying a lot. Biden's problem is he shoves his foot in his mouth every 30 seconds. And there's a reason why we have not heard him speak much in the last 8 years, because at the very beginning, when the administration kind of let him near a microphone, he said stupid shit. And so they realized we got to keep this man's mouth shut. It's like Frank Keating. If Rick, you'll know who I'm talking about, former governor of the great state of Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. There was talk of him having some kind of position in the George W. Bush administration because they were friends and whatnot. And there was even for a while rumblings that maybe he would be the VP nominee, which none of which ever happened, partially because he just said he made some comment that they wouldn't consider me, which was basically a shrouded way of saying, I don't want any jobs in your administration. He was famous for saying stupid stuff, for shoving his foot so far in his mouth. One of my absolute favorite stories, and I like Keating, I voted for his reelection, is he was at an elementary school talking to students, and a student asked, so what if we have a teacher that we just cannot get along with no matter what? We've tried everything. And his response was, he's like, well, you ever considered murder? And he was doing it as a joke. Needless to say, the National Teachers Association, who already hated him, the NEA, they went after him so hard. Oh, it was so ugly. And he was just making a joke. But he is the Republican Joe Biden. So you get Joe Biden on that big of a stage, he will say some stupid flip shit that will offend vast majorities of the population. In a way, it'd be like Donald Trump, but Donald Trump's like Biden on crack as far as the stupidity of stuff coming out of his mouth. So I don't think Biden is running. I think at this point, what is happening is you've got these establishment Democratic Party people who were solidly behind Hillary, who saw Hillary as their candidate and are watching her candidacy implode with the rise of Bernie Sanders. And they don't like Sanders because he is not a party person. Hell, he's an independent right now. I forget how that happened, but he ended up having to run for senator as an independent at some point. So he's not even, for years, technically hasn't been a Democrat. So the establishment doesn't want him because he will go after them and their perks and their power. And they don't want that. They want someone to keep the status quo. So I think they're looking at this thing, well, Hillary's not going to win. So who do we think can? And at this point, Joe Biden, because it's a two-pony show right now. It's Hillary and Bernie. The other people on that stage, even though some of them so far have sounded reasonable, have had some good answers, none of them are going to get any traction, I don't think. I think everything that came out of this debate was all the pundits were saying Hillary won and everyone else on the planet was saying Bernie Sanders won. So I foresee Bernie Sanders becoming the nominee. I mean, there's still a lot of time between now and election day, and anything can happen. I mean, what's his name, who is also from Vermont, who was the governor of Vermont back in 2004. Oh God, what was that fool's name? He looked like he was going to be the nominee, and he lost to John Kerry in Iowa by some kind of fluke. And then he did that whole Iowa speech where he screamed like a banshee, and it was all over the nightly news and the talk shows. And so he immediately became, nope, that's not going to work. So yeah, anything can happen between now and then. What about you? What do you think?
For me, I think Bernie is going to get it. I hope Joe Biden runs because then I feel it would be more certain. I really feel like Americans don't want Hillary, just the rich do. But I was just delighted to see Seth MacFarlane endorses Bernie Sanders and spoke at one of his rallies. Now, I honestly think that the one thing that the news media underestimates is the millennial vote that is now coming. And they largely support Bernie. So I fear as if well, not fear. I am hopeful that I am right, and they underestimate how many people are going to vote for Bernie, who are from my time.
I think that's a valid point. I think there's been, ever since Obama won election in 2008, there's been a demographic shift in the voting population. It's skewed a lot younger, and there are these coalitions of people that didn't vote as consistently in the past that have voted, at least in presidential elections, have been voting pretty consistently, and at least in the two. And that's where guys, again, like Dick Morris, who sat back and said, hey, Romney's going to win in a landslide, because he was looking at the polls differently. He was looking at them considering taking old voting demographics into consideration, not the 2008 demographics. And so he ended up being wrong, because the whole, not to keep using the word demographics, but the demographics changed. And so, yeah, that group of people is, I can see very strongly going for Bernie Sanders.
Absolutely. And, you know, he's winning the social media, which is interesting. And all the focus groups and all the social media and all the people genuinely believe that he won, which is weird.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because he is an older, I mean, he's still a baby boomer, and still even Obama is technically a baby boomer, if I'm not mistaken. So we haven't had yet the handing off, the generational handing off, because that's one thing that happens once, at least historically, once one generation hands a presidency off to the next generation, it doesn't go back. So when Bill Clinton won election, that was the baby boomers taking over from the busters. And then when Bob Dole ran against him in 96, the whole time I just sat back there and just said, look, Bob Dole's not going to win. The generational shift has happened. If history tells us anything, he is not going to win. And lo and behold, he didn't win. So yeah, it's now, you know, if the current president was younger or of my generation, then, you know, a guy like Bernie Sanders probably wouldn't have as much of a chance. But that hasn't happened yet. And at this rate, who knows if we'll ever have a Gen X president, because those damn baby boomers keep holding on to power, and you stupid millennials, you keep wanting to take over everything. We're getting squeezed out in the middle, man. We've gotten screwed from day one.
Now you sound like Hillary.
That's why we have all this angry music, man. Nirvana was right.
Now you sound like Hillary.
How do I sound like Hillary?
Getting screwed over and stuck in the middle.
Oh,
nah! Stop. I don't want to think about Jim Webb and Bernie. Ew.
Double team into Hillster.
They're rolling down both sides of the hill.
That they are. Going places where even Bill hasn't gone before. Oh, yeah. Bow chicka wow wow.
Hey,
We're gonna. That's just gross.
Great. Now I actually had a question and I lost it because I took the smartass comment. And now I forgot what I was actually going to ask you. Damn.
Good work, sir.
Oh well.
So Bryce, let me ask you. I've seen pictures of you. You're working for a senator, right?
I was, yeah.
You were, and you're not anymore?
No, that was for the summer.
Okay. So, are you involved in local politics much up there in the great state of New Jersey?
Unfortunately, not so much. I mean, my town is very small, so it's not much of an opportunity. But I hope eventually, like in college, definitely.
Okay. Do you follow a lot of the local stuff that's going on?
I explained it in the group chat. My town is so liberal that there was Republicans who switched their party affiliation to Democrat just to win. And in all honesty, most people just win because they run unopposed. But my town is very small, so the mayor owns the hardware shop, and it's kind of interesting.
Oh, that's awesome. That sounds like here, actually.
Dave is actually not a member of the Green Room chat, so he wouldn't know because he's not a fan of Twitter, so I spared him from it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I didn't even know Twitter had a chat option.
Me neither.
But yes, thank you for... Would I be getting notifications of that crap whenever that stuff happens?
Constantly.
Oh, God. Thank you for not putting me in that.
Just for that,
I
I'm
mean,
going to add you
bless
later.
y'all's hearts, but I would...
Just for that, I'm going to add you later. I'm just playing.
Oh, go to hell.
Already there. I'm on the air with you two.
Yes.
Just saying.
I would, God love every member of the K98 Talk family, but some of you MFers are freaking crazy, and I would just lose
Present company included.
Absolutely, it is. You're the craziest of them all. You're the one that actually made this thing work. So, yeah. I couldn't do that.
So yeah. Anyway, we are down to a couple of minutes because we're gonna have to shut down so I can make room for Bryce to take over because I got to go find my earplugs so I don't pass out while I'm trying to run the board.
Love you.
Yes, because God, hearing opposing opinions, it's so bad for your health.
If you knew what my blood pressure was like sometimes when this kid gets going, you would know why I try not to listen.
Oh, well, no, actually, I understand. It's the reason why I don't listen to any of the other shows on this network. Love you guys. You fuckers are crazy. I see. There's a reason why I unfollowed almost every single one of you guys on Twitter. I couldn't handle it, man. I'd open up my Twitter feed. I'm like, what is this crazy nonsense?
I have a good article that could back you up there, Dave. I was on Facebook this morning, and I follow a page that one of the quote-unquote, as you said, crazy fuckers suggested. But it's called Facebook Conservatives. And one of the articles that was shared said Obama orders U.S. troops to obey Sharia law. So I opened up the article, even though it was from the Conservative Tribune or whatever.
Yeah, because that's a good news source.
Exactly. Great fucking news source. I read it, though. And it says something along the lines that, the military, the Pentagon, not Obama even, right? The Pentagon tells U.S. troops stationed in the Middle East to adhere to the culture of the surrounding areas when not on U.S. Protected areas such as bases and whatever. And I'm just thinking to myself, now why is that bad, right?
Exactly.
We're in their area, right? We should not want to be viewed as the dicks in their area,
right?
So it's amazing how headlines skew shit, and then we put it all over Facebook, and you look at the comments, it's all like, fuck Obama, no Sharia law in America, and it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that is Jesus Christ, man. Oh, and I suspect if the J-Man's looking down upon us and sees that kind of stuff, just shakes his head in disgust. And
well, isn't that special?
Exactly. Could it be Satan? That's Santa, Satan Claus. Right there. We're coming to that season, but yeah, that's that Conservative Tribune paper or website. Every time I see people link to that, they're like, "Oh, look at this story." I'm like, "You guys realize that this is nothing but polemic bullshit, right? This is some of the most god awful skewed." It's like if someone on the flip side posted something from the Daily Kos. It's like, "Look at this groundbreaking article." No, that's some lib lab bullshit right there. That's all it is.
See, that is the one thing I do like about you. At least you call BS on both sides.
Yes, I'm an equal opportunity critic. It makes it hard, man, because that means that I call bullshit on everyone and no one likes me.
I still like you, man.
Thank you.
As the question was asked to Hillary, are you a progressive or a moderate? She bullshitted that answer. But what are you, Dave? I'm a
liberal libertarian in that. Yeah. Okay. So. This is a slightly long explanation. Poor Ricky's like, oh God, here we go again. Because I've explained this a number of times.
Do you guys just want me to pause for a second, run Bryce's intro, and you guys can keep talking because we're out of time.
But that's okay with Dave, sure.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Okay, hang on a second.
So we'll be right back, folks.
They say we offer simple answers to complex problems. Well, perhaps there is a simple answer. Not an easy answer, but simple.
It's common ground.
Month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we're expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at advertise@k98talk.org. The leader in talk radio on the internet, right here on K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network. Welcome to Opinion Nation.
And we stand today on the edge of a new frontier.
There is nothing wrong with America that cannot be cured by what is right with America.
What makes us Americans is our shared commitment to an ideal that all of us are created equal.
I, too, am America.
Now here's your host, Bryce Robbins.
In New Jersey, so I guess that means we'll have another good show. It's cloudless just like last week. But today I'm joined with Dave, and I guess Rick's not gonna be talking. I wasn't sure if he wanted to come on or not, but he can always pop in if he wants. But hey, Dave.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So we're just gonna continue the conversation for everyone who's listening from Finding Common Ground that we were just now. So Dave, want to just continue?
Sure. And since I'm new to this show, for those of you who have not heard me, I was the original co-host on Finding Common Ground on the liberal side. And then when my schedule would not allow me to do that on a regular basis, Bryce had been on an episode. We had you on for an interview promoting the Opinionation website, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
And so it just clicked. So yeah, we were lucky to find you to step in to fill that spot. So thank you very much for that. But yeah, so we were in the previous show, we were talking about the debates, and the question, Hillary was asked the question, are you a moderate or are you a progressive? And Bryce asked me, well, what are you? And my response was, well, I am a liberal libertarian, to which Bryce responded, what the fuck? So let's explain. So in order to explain this, and forgive me for this being slightly long, you have to look at, when looking at the American political spectrum, so to speak, we've always traditionally been taught, or at least when I was in school, that it's a line. You've got liberals on one side, conservatives on the other. And then you have your extreme liberals, which were radicals, and your extreme conservatives, which were reactionaries. That's actually not the political spectrum. It works better if you look at it like a graph. You've got an x-axis and a y-axis that are, cross in the middle. So you've got 4 quadrants. On the horizontal axis, on the left you've got liberals. On the right you've got conservatives. On the vertical axis, on the top you have libertarians, and on the bottom you have authoritarians and totalitarians. So here is the most basic breakdown of each group and what they believe in. Conservatives believe that the government should be able to tell you what to do with your morals, but not your money. Liberals think the government should be able to tell you what to do with your money, but not your morals. Authoritarians believe that the government should be able to tell you what to do with your money, your morals, and everything else. And libertarians believe that the government shouldn't be able to tell you what to do with shit. I personally live in the liberal libertarian quadrant, in that my beliefs are that, for the most part, the government should stay out of people's way, but it has a job of providing a safety net and making sure that everyone is equally protected under the law, and to basically prevent people from getting screwed over by those in power. There are a couple of different tests out there. I think the Political Compass is one that follows kind of the same model. It's a pretty good little quiz to see where you land. But people who are of like-minded philosophy include the Dalai Lama, Gandhi, and Nelson Mandela. So I think I'm in relatively good company there.
I think so as well. Well, that was perhaps one of the best explanations that really painted a good picture in my head. I mean, and I just want everyone to get it clear. I always get flack for being the liberal on the station, but Dave is the OG liberal. He's the original. So right now you're literally getting the most liberal K98 you can possibly get right now. I just want everyone to understand that.
Yes, it will never be this far left, ever.
It's some sick liberal orgy you guys are listening to right now.
Yes, as people are turning off the radio, they're closing their browsers right now.
It's kind of interesting how when I was introduced to K98, it was always this is a conservative radio talk network, and slowly but surely, I will do my best to change that.
Well, I think the original intent was, and Rick, if he's still listening, he can attest to this, was the original intent really was to find people of all across the spectrum to do this. And for whatever reason, that's just, he's had more luck finding other conservatives to be part of the fray. Some of the folks that are of liberal persuasion that do podcasts and shows like this, it seems kind of askew to what you would normally think of as a liberal philosophy. A lot of them have upfront asked, how much money are you going to pay me? Yeah. To which the response is none. We're making none. So yeah, and that bothered me, because the whole intent when we originally started this whole thing, it started out as a Facebook page where we were trying to bring people together who generally disagreed on things and tried to find those handful of really core issues where most people actually agree upon and try to build from there. And then from there, it grew to a podcast. And then from that, it grew into into what we have here on K98 Talk. And since then, as K98 Talk has grown, it's grown where its audience is, and because of that, it's become primarily. And this is not an insult or a slight on it. This is just how businesses grow, especially in our very fractured society. It has grown into a primarily conservative, network. And let's be honest, why are Fox News and MSNBC still in business? Because people like to hear information or quote unquote news that already that agrees with their predetermined feelings on things, with their presumptions. Otherwise, Fox News and MSNBC would have been shut down a long time ago for being absolute hacks.
Maybe just spitting truth today.
It happens from time to time. So that's part of the problem. So we had a very strong conservative base, especially when Rick started doing his own show, which he does a very good job on America Off the Rails, and he's really built a following there. And with that, he has found other like-minded folks. And that's where it's grown, and it's a great thing, man. This is small business at its best. This is capitalism at its best, and I think it's a really good thing from that standpoint. Do I find it sad that, with the exception of you, there aren't any other liberal hosts on this network? Really? Yeah, I do find that sad. But there's only so much as a station director can do to go out and try to bring in people, especially when they say, well, I want money for this, or some folks might just be completely turned away because they turn on the station. Here, let me look at the profiles of the station hosts, and you're like, okay, I agree with none of these people. And why would I want to be a part of this? How is this going to help get me to the audience that I'm looking for? And some of these, it's almost a problem we're not going to solve, man. As much as niche driven as society has become, we can try as hard as we can to bring in multiple points of view, and eventually someday maybe we will be able to have. We'll have more liberal hosts. We'll have, a consistent libertarian presence. We can get maybe even, on the religious tip, get some, a Jewish host, get a Muslim on here, get people from all across the spectrum. But
unfortunately, I'm the Jewish host. I just not religious. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. You're a Jewish New England liberal.
Yeah, there's a lot of us.
That's great. We got it. We got the stereotype. Yes.
Yes, you did. You definitely landed the stereotype. I mean, and oddly enough, the only time I'm conservative is when it involves Israel. So that's interesting. But all right. So on a less serious note, since you're spitting so much truth, and you're the perfect person to ask. It's less than 100 days away. I think you know what I'm talking about. The new Star Wars.
Yes.
Tell me what you think.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I grew up on Star Wars. I loved Star Wars when I got into. I was never much of a reader as a kid, and which did not do me well in school, especially when I attempted to go to college, my many attempts. So it wasn't really until I was in my kind of mid-20s that I really started reading, and it was Star Wars novels, of all things. The prequels had come out, which I was not really impressed with, and I started reading a bunch of the Star Wars books, and I got hooked. So I love that universe. I love that mythology. I have very serious issues with the prequels, for everything from screwing with even what?
Number 3?
Yes.
Okay.
The screwing with the timeline, the horrific acting, the overuse of CGI. those things all really, really bothered me. The bad directing, the bad scripts. I've come to realize George Lucas is a guy who has an amazing talent for world building. He's done this in 2 different occasions. He's built amazing worlds, one in Star Wars and 2 in Indiana Jones. And in both cases, he made the first, or he helped put together the first installments of them. And then they succeeded better when other people kind of took over the reins. When he sold Indiana Jones to Steven Spielberg originally, he's like, yeah, I've got this whole trilogy written, blah, blah, blah. No, he'd written Raiders of the Lost Ark. He had no idea for the rest of it. There's a reason why Temple of Doom sucked so bad, and that is why. And it was Star Wars. He was making it up as he went along. There's a great documentary, and when the movies originally came out on DVD, in that first 4-disc set, there was a whole series of documentaries about the making of the films. And in watching those, you really realize that he had no clue what he was doing as far as like a firm backstory, as far as the mythology of the world. He was completely making up as he went along. And he just happened to strike gold. Now, part of that was because he was following a time-tested template in that he was using the hero's journey. He was essentially adapting Joseph Campbell's Hero with 1,000 Faces into a modern space opera. And it gets called science fiction a lot, which it is science fiction in that there's a lot of space and technology that we don't have. But the reality is Star Wars is a fantasy. Star Wars has much more in common with fantasy and mythology than it does with, say, Star Trek or the works of Arthur C. Clarke or the dude who wrote Contact. It has so much more in common with that type of stuff. So I am cautiously optimistic. I was really bummed that they threw out the entire expanded universe continuity. I understand why they did it.
I think they had to, in all honesty. I mean, for people who don't know, I mean, what was going to happen is they didn't want to stick to the predetermined script, basically.
Right. Which is, is sad considering the New Jedi Order, which is about time frame wise where they would be right now with these new films, would have made an incredible series of films. It would have just been, because it was such a good story. So, and same with the original Thrawn trilogy. Now, granted, they couldn't do that justice now because everyone is too old. But that was a fantastic trilogy by Timothy Zahn. But for those of you who don't know, I think it really kicked off in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. There was a lot of novels and comics that were put out as based on the Star Wars universe, and it was called the Expanded Universe. And it was, for me, it got to the point where the Expanded Universe was the core, and the films just accentuated it. But there was contradictions in it, and then of course the prequels contradicted a lot of stuff, which is another thing that irks me to no end. That George Lucas has tried to play off that he's always had this grand plan, this big idea. Well, a lot of the information, especially in the Timothy Zahn original Thrawn trilogy, was based off of notes that he had been given from George Lucas about what had happened in the Clone Wars and how that all worked. And then Lucas threw all of that away and wrote the prequels. Another thing is, depending on which interviews and when they were recorded, Lucas would either say, oh yeah, my original plan was for 3 trilogies for 9 total movies, and then later, no, I only ever really wanted to do 6. And he's so full of shit, man. He just makes it up as he goes along. And I'm not saying he's a bad dude. He's just full of himself and full of crap.
Now, do you think, Jar Jar Binks was a joke. Do you think that J.J. Abrams will be remembered as Jar Jar Abrams?
I don't think so. Let's look at J.J. Abrams' track record for one. He he created the show Alias, which is one of my 3 favorite shows of all time. He created, or at least co-created, Lost, which I only watched the first season, but generally speaking, was a very well received show. I know people had issues with how it ended, but overall, for the majority of the show, it was well received. And then he did a phenomenal job with those 2 Star Trek movies. So this is a guy who has a pretty proven track record, in my opinion. And he also, based on everything I've seen, he has a reverence for the source material, and especially the original trilogy. And based just on the previews, which of course doesn't tell you a whole lot, but based on the previews, the vibe is much closer to the original trilogy than the prequel trilogy. How much of that is seeing the Millennium Falcon? How much of that is, seeing Han and Chewie? I don't know. But even the shots with these new characters, you get the epicness, you get the vastness of the universe and the story that just wasn't there in the prequels. And really, in my opinion, Jar Jar Binks was not the worst part of the prequel trilogy. If I was going to say the thing that really damned those 3 movies more than anything else was Hayden Christensen. His acting was so epically awful. And in his defense, he apparently was told, this is how I want you to act, because he is, from everything I've heard, is a much better actor than he showed us in those films. His acting was so god awful. And that's not to say that little kid that played Anakin in episode 1 wasn't awful either. He was. But there were a few minutes where he had some good chemistry with Natalie Portman. And I think Hayden Christensen had a few minutes of good chemistry with Natalie Portman either. But,
which is a little weird in itself. I mean, how they chose to do the age difference, because I don't ever recall that being something that was in literature. So I think George Lucas kind of chose to do that one himself.
Yeah, and that one, I mean, yeah, because that was creepy. But to me, it was, I had more issues with the whole from a bad acting standpoint, because she was she was the leader of that planet, but she was in the first movie, she was like 16, and he was supposed to be like 11. So if we're talking, even if he's 10 and she's 16, let's say it was that was the age difference. Well, what's the big deal with a 20-year-old dating a 26-year-old? Not a whole lot. So when 16 and 10, creepy as all hell. 20 and 26, 30 and 36, not so much. So from that standpoint, and from a character, she was so kind to him, and he saw her as this angel. The fact that he would completely fall head over heels in love with her for pretty much his entire life makes sense. And then when he grows up and because of all his Jedi training, turns into the strapping young buck, and he shows up, and she hasn't seen him in forever, and he shows up as Mr. Hottie, then her going, "Oh, baby," that also kind of makes sense. So it's that part of it, really, it was the acting. It was, and it sums up the scene that really, to me, was the scene that jumped the shark of the entire thing. It was the beginning of Attack of the Clones, which I will attest to this day is the worst film in all of Star Wars. That first scene where he and Obi-Wan are in the elevator going up. Like, I haven't seen her in 10 years, Master. Like, oh my God, is this Torgo from Mano's Hands of Fate? What is this? I mean, from that, it was done, man. Even as good as the scene was where he killed all of the sand people, and he did that scene very well. It didn't matter. It was, the rest of it was so awful. And then more than that, the timeline screw ups. Let's talk about this. In A New Hope, Luke is supposed to be about 18, somewhere between 18 and 20. Well, in Phantom Menace, Obi-Wan's supposed to be about that same age. So let's say he's 20. So then there's 10 years in between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. So Attack of the Clones, he's 30. There is then three. Oh, that's okay. There's 3 years in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. So he's 33 years old. There is then 20 years in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. So when we meet Obi-Wan in A New Hope, and he is that old man whose joints barely work, who can barely move, he is 55 years old. Now, I know he's on a desert planet. I know he's been baked in the sun. What kind of hard living and hard drinking has that man been doing for 20 years? Because he screwed his body up. So just that alone kills so much continuity in this thing for me. So, yeah.
I mean, no, I agree, and I just really, really, really hope that Star Wars is not like, ruined. But I'm confident. I think a J.J. Abrams will be a little bit better than having George Lucas redo it. But as I've been told, he's still somewhat attached to the movie.
Well, Lucas, he sold, this is my understanding, he sold Lucasfilms to Disney. He is still a consultant, but he has no control over the products at all anymore, which is really, I think, a good thing. His hands should have been, when it came to the point with the prequels, he should have come up with some ideas and brought in screenwriters and other directors to put that together, because Phantom Menace was the most anticipated film probably in movie history. And from that standpoint, the thing was destined to fail. It was the anticipation was off the chart for this movie. And they did a good job in the previews making it look cool. And you had Darth Maul, who to this day I still believe the best lightsaber battle in the entire saga was the Duel of Fates. That was amazing.
That was.
So I have a cat that wants out. Hi, cat. So yeah, but crap, I just lost my train of thought. Sorry.
No worries. You're talking about Phantom Menace. Yes.
So it was hard pressed to meet people's expectations. I think what The Force Awakens has going for it is people desperately want this to be good, but they're skeptical because, man, we desperately wanted the other ones to be good, and look how that crap turned out. So yeah, hopefully. What the hell? Guys, Jesus Christ, we've got cats fighting here.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think Dave has a cat problem.
Dang.
You all good there, Dave?
Yeah, fur's flying. You should see this. Guys, what are you doing?
Well, Rick, if you're listening, I think this would be a good time to go to break while Dave settles his cat issue, and it sounds like my dog settles her dog issue with a squirrel.
Yeah,
so,
I'm actually going to drop off for the day. I've got some stuff to do, but thank you, Bryce, for having me on.
No problem.
This was a lot of fun.
All right, so this was Dave, and Dave is the OG liberal, so hopefully he'll definitely be able to come back on and shoot the shit about more comic books and liberal stuff.
Definitely, yeah. And anytime I'm available on a Saturday, I do Finding Common Ground. If you want me to join you after the fact, and as long as I don't have other stuff to do, let me know.
Hey, absolutely. Thank you so much, Dave.
Anytime. Take care, my friend.
All right, so this is Opinion Nation. My name's Bryce Robbins, and we'll be right back after this break.
Wake up, America.
The biggest threat in those days were from factions seizing control of the governing apparatus and making decisions that were in their interests. Today, we call factions political parties. George Washington himself warned the nation about the dangers of factions in his farewell address.
Office hours with Dr. A, 3 p.m. on Sundays, K98 Talk. We've got something to say to you, America.
Wondering why why you're up early with us on a Sunday morning making a cocktail? News lately got you drinking? Hung over from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are, and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and oh yeah, news with booze.
And a lot of laughter.
Welcome to Bloody Marys and Broadsheets.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
All right, welcome back. My name is Bryce Robbins, and we are joined on this Saturday morning with... Actually, no, we're no longer joined. Excuse me, Dave left. So I'm kind of having one of those moments where it's kind of like when you're in the car, and you get in the car ride, and then you have to use the bathroom. And you say you got to use the bathroom, and your parents or whoever turns and says, well, why didn't you use the bathroom when we were at home? Rick would probably be saying, why didn't you use the bathroom when we were at break? And I say, well, I didn't have to go then. But such is life of Bryce. All right. So I have a couple topics that I'm going to talk about. First, I'm going to feel the burn a little bit. So I'm reading this article from The Hill that says Sanders raises more money than every GOP candidate. Now, of course, he's not the self-funded billionaire, but I still believe that he has more money in his campaign right now than Donald Trump does. But the amazing thing, and I said this when I was on Red Nation Rising with Lou, was that Bernie Sanders is raising so much money, and even though I don't agree with everything he says, like a $15 minimum wage, what he is doing is a political revolution that we need to embrace as Americans. Our political system is so, pardon my French here, fucked up. If you think about it, right? If you have more money, you can donate more to a candidate. If that candidate gets elected, they're going to, quote unquote, pay you back, scratch your back. Now, that applies to anybody, including corporations. So the Koch brothers can give, $1,000 here, thousands of dollars there. And of course, we're not going to have common sense legislation. You have lobbies like the NRA. And they don't even have as much money as some of these groups, but they have such a powerful lobbying title. I mean, it's amazing. But here's something that really got me, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm having a cold. I have a cold. But here's something that really got me happy. If you guys remember the, I can't think of the name right now, I'm going to actually look it up. Bernie Sanders just received a donation. Here's the guy's name, if I could find it. From that guy who bought the AIDS drug medicine and raised the price astronomically and said because, he can do it because that's what happens with cancer medication. Yeah, that guy, Martin Scarell, I think that's how I pronounce it. I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. I really don't care to give him any respect. He's a douche nozzle. But he donated $2,700 to Bernie's campaign. And in all reality, that's not so much money. I mean, that's a lot for a single person's campaign donation. But Bernie Sanders said no, and he took that money and gave it to a Washington, D.C. health clinic. Now, of course, Mr. Martin over here was furious and said that he's just trying to do it for some votes and some big attention. But Bernie said he wouldn't take any of Big Pharma's money. And to me, that overshadows anything that I disagree with about Bernie, because hypothetically, okay, even if Bernie Sanders didn't believe in climate change, even if Bernie Sanders was against gay marriage, even if Bernie Sanders was this, that, and the other thing, the sheer fact that he's doing what he is doing is going to bring democracy, I feel, or has the potential to be the symbol of hope for democracy once again in America. Because I truly believe that what we are living in, what we are going through right now, post-Citizens United, is the rise of corporate oligarchy and the demise of people represented democracy. People aren't being represented. This is just evident by the TPP, right? That's not that no person is getting represented there. So why is that bill even being entertained? It's amazing. If your own representatives can't read a bill, why is that bill even being entertained? And I feel as though Bernie Sanders really gets it, that we are losing a democracy that at one point in time was envied by the rest of the world, or most of the world. So we really need to ask ourselves in this election, and I hope that, I mean, look at the polls. I think Republicans see it too. It's not just about socialism or his economic values, because let's be real, a lot of the things that he proposes aren't necessarily going to change things, or he doesn't even have a chance to change. That's kind of like when Republicans talk about abortion. They're not going to be able to really change anything. But here's the thing. Bernie Sanders is a symbol, a beacon of hope for democracy to strive and shine through in this country, and that is why I love him so much. And that is why this week I was so happy, and I said this on Finding Common Ground, I got my own Bernie Sanders t-shirt and Bernie Sanders lawn sign, which is sitting beautifully outside my home. And I am feeling the burn, and I made sure that it was exactly a $30 purchase because I get to contribute to his line now. The average donation to his campaign is $30, and he's still getting more than any GOP candidate. So good job, Bernie. Next, I'm going to talk about Marco Rubio, who's, well, not doing good. Marco, our Floridian boy, is not doing well. He's got $5.7 million in the bank, and that's what he raised the last quarter. And in all honesty, he was one of my favorites for the conservatives, for the GOP. Marco Rubio is a young guy, and I feel like his immigration policies were probably understandable, probably the best ones, being that he is Hispanic and understands that struggle. He really shot himself in the foot in the first debate when talking about abortion, but again, that's not something that he can change. A gay marriage, I mean, the law is the law, and that's not going to change, so I really don't care what his views are on that. But I think economically he makes a lot of sense. He really does. He says things like, Hillary and Bernie just want to give, but they don't understand that we can't just give everything away. Now, of course, that makes sense. But again, my morals kick in, and then I go back to Bernie and I say, I love you. But this is the problem that I think Bernie Sanders addresses, right? Let's go back to him now. Elections are all based off money. So because Marco Rubio can't gain the corporate backup that, somebody else can, or a billionaire like Trump has, now we have problems. Because Big Pharma or, whatever, doesn't back Marco, then he's going down. And we have establishment candidates like Bush and Hillary who are getting excitement now because of the debates and whatever. Which is another thing that amazes me, is how Bernie Sanders, I felt, did superb in the debate. Other than guns, which I kind of agree with him on. I mean, you listen to Bernie Sanders' response. He reads the bills, right? He says, I didn't like some of the things that were in these bills, so I didn't want to vote for it. Okay, good. That's what politicians are supposed to do. He says, I'm from a rural state. Good. You're supposed to represent the people of your state, not your self-interests. What did Bernie answer wrong? That what? What did Bernie answer wrong there? I didn't get, and Hillary took a crap on him. Really did. But I think the people of my generation don't see Hillary as somebody who they want in office. I really don't. I think Hillary is, she's going down. I'm very confident that Hillary is going down, and as she should. All right, so my next topic, and I'm probably going to jump back and forth in between them, is something that kind of similar to what we talked about on finding common ground. It has to do with the police, and in this case, possibly police brutality. So the story is not fully out yet, but the boy's name is Zachary Hammond, Zachary Hammond, and it's kind of an interesting story, but it ends up being that this boy was killed. He was fatally shot, and there's now video out on it of him being killed. And the weird thing is that I didn't remember his name, and neither. I didn't remember his name, and I turned on MSNBC this morning, and I even flipped to Fox News, and I didn't hear his name. And the funny thing is, he's not black; he's white. And I guess because it's not sensational enough, the media doesn't cover it, that a white boy was killed by the police. And in all honesty, from the video that I saw, it seemed kind of interesting. And it would be one of the better videos against the police that I've seen. So when police brutality is committed, and again, I'm not going to call it straight up police brutality because I don't know, right? I've always been hesitant to call it police brutality in many cases. I mean, in some cases, we definitely see it. Like in Texas, when the guy did the barrel roll, the cop, that was ridiculous, and, that was police brutality. And then, we do see police brutality. Eric Garner, when he was choked, that was police brutality. That should not have been handled the way it was handled. I live right next to New York City. I'm literally 5 minutes away. I just go over the George Washington Bridge, is the next town over. So I am there all the time. Numerous times have I seen people selling loose cigarettes. I've never seen someone choked out for it. So, look, we do have a problem here. But the problem is also in the media. You see, we can't live in a society where we turn on MSNBC and it's all Al Sharpton screaming Black Lives Matter, and then you flip to Fox News and it's Bill O'Reilly saying, support the cops. The cops are the best things since, Jesus. They are the safeguardians of this country and we should treat them as such. No, we have to understand that both sides make mistakes. And the question was asked at the presidential debate, do Black Lives Matter or do all lives matter? Let's see if I can pull up the clip. But here's the thing. To me, it kind of was the first time I ever saw Bernie pander, is what I felt. Now, he gave the answer that Black Lives Matter, and no one's saying they don't. But, I don't know. Let's hear the response. I have the clip. Let's see if it loads nicely. No, it probably won't, because this is from CBS, so there's probably going to be an ad. And if there is, I will not watch it. But, yeah. Okay, but, I'll see if I can find it again. But it's interesting. Why do we live in this society where we just go off the notion that Black Lives Matter, and not all lives, where we were told, where Martin O'Malley said a while ago that all lives matter, and he was booed for that. So, in my mind, it makes a little weird sense. Here's the clip.
Has been a great moral leader on these issues and has laid out an agenda that has been obstructed by the Republicans at every turn. So what we need to be doing is not only reforming criminal justice, I have talked about that at some length, including things like body cameras, but we also need to be following the recommendations of the commission that President Obama impaneled on policing. There is an agenda there that we need to be following up on. Similarly, we need to tackle mass incarceration. And this may be the only bipartisan issue in the Congress this year. We actually have people on both sides of the aisle who have reached the same conclusion, that we cannot keep imprisoning more people than anybody else in the world. But I believe that the debate and discussion has to go further, Anderson, because we've got to do more about the lives of these children. That's why I started off by saying we need to be committed to making it possible for every child to live up to his or her God-given potential. That is really hard to do.
So that was Hillary's answer, and now I'm going to play
My
Bernie's
question
answers.
for the candidates is,
here's the question.
Do Black Lives Matter or do all lives matter?
The question from Arthur in Des Moines is, do Black Lives Matter or do all lives matter? Let's put that question to Senator Sanders.
Black Lives Matter. And the reason those words matter is the African American community knows that on any given day, some innocent person like Sandra Bland can get into a car, and then 3 days later, she's going to end up dead in jail, or their kids are going to get shot. We need to combat institutional racism from top to bottom, and we need major reforms in a broken criminal justice system in which we have more people in jail than China. And I intend to tackle that issue.
So we can clearly see that Bernie's answer is very similar to, to Hillary's answer. But the thing is that Bernie Sanders originally was not, and he's still not, winning the minority vote among Democrats. But you could see he's trying here by saying that Black lives do matter. Now, of course, they do. And I like that phrasing that he used. Of course, Black lives do matter. But that doesn't answer my question. Bernie Sanders, do you stand by the statement Black lives matter or do all lives matter? To me, I understand that everyone's life should matter. And then you have your subsections of how we can make them matter more, right? But it doesn't seem pure. And now I do like his statement towards the end, similar to Hillary's, that we have a mass incarceration problem where we're incarcerating more people than China, which is a huge problem, being that we live in a democratic, society where we're supposed to have laws that respect people's rights, and we're throwing people in jail for smoking a little weed here and there. And it was this debate, which is kind of going to get me on a sidetrack here, is a little bit better than when Jeb Bush made his comment about smoking weed and apologized to his mother, Mrs. Bush, which was kind of weird. All right, so I have a really funny clip here that I want to play. It's about 3 minutes long, but it's the funniest clips from the debates. Now I'm going to stop it here and there, just so I can make some commentary, but it's actually really funny. So here we go.
I've had it with my moderate.
I hate these damn ads. The internet is getting loaded with them. All right. So here we go.
Comprehensive, and frankly, it's tougher because, of course, we have to deal with the problem that the banks are still too big to fail. We can never let the American
this one is
taxpayer
great,
and middle-class
honestly.
families ever have to bail out the kind of speculative behavior that we saw.
Senator Sanders, Secretary Clinton just said that her policy is tougher than yours.
Anderson Cooper, you are a great moderator because
I've seen them all my life.
somebody ever
Now, your imagination.
All right, yeah, that was not me for the first time. Wow. So Hillary Clinton essentially says that her banking and fiscal, regulation policy is going to be stronger than Bernie Sanders. And Anderson Cooper calls her on that, and then here's Bernie's beautiful answer.
No, that's not true.
Oh, Bernie, I feel your burn. Even she did.
Let us be clear that the greed and recklessness and illegal behavior of Wall Street, where fraud is a business model, helped to destroy this economy and the lives of millions of people.
Okay, here's the problem with this statement, though, that Bernie Sanders keeps going off of. That's not entirely true. I mean, the housing bubble really was brought on, yes, by Wall Street, but was promoted by the Clinton administration's, housing policy, where they were told, well, we're living in an era of prosperity, so take all this money, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and go give subprime loans to people. I mean, this is evidently a problem because when you give people subprime loans are bad loans for everybody who doesn't know. So when we give out loans to people who can't afford them, we were setting ourselves up for a recipe for disaster. So I wish this Bernie would take that and say, your husband, Bill, screwed this country up as well. Bernie Sanders missed so many opportunities where he could have hit Hillary and hit her hard, but he didn't. He could have done it in the emails. He could have done it in this aspect, but he didn't.
Check the record. Today, it is my view that when you have the three largest banks in America are much bigger than they were when we bailed them out for being too big to fail, we have got to break them up.
I represented Wall Street as a senator from New York, and I went to Wall Street in December of 2007, before the big crash that we had, and I basically said, cut it out. Quit foreclosing on homes. Quit engaging in these kinds of speculative behaviors. I took on the Bush administration for the same thing.
You do not, Congress does not regulate Wall Street. Wall Street regulates Congress, and we have got to break off these banks, going to them and say, please.
Okay, so, I mean, what a weird answer that Hillary just gave there, that I went to these banks and I was like, cut it out, guys. The fuck? That's what our president is going to be like? She's going to go up to ISIS and be like, hey guys, can you cut it out with the decapitating of Christians and Jews and just kind of cut it out? Like, come on. It bothers me how ill the answers are to some of these questions and how fake they are. And that is a fake answer, and it is not a president's answer. And a bigger thing, Bernie, you missed your chance again. In all honesty, Bernie Sanders should have said, you don't regulate Congress. You do not regulate the banks. Congress does not regulate the banks. The banks regulate Congress, just like they regulated the Clinton administration. And if he had said that, he would have got a standing applause. So, I mean, in all honesty, but here is the best part of the debate. In all honesty, we're doing a little debate breakdown, but Lincoln Chafee's explanation of his Glass-Steagall vote definitely stole the show.
Secretary Clinton for being too close to Wall Street banks. In 1999, you voted for the very bill that made banks bigger.
The Glass-Steagall was my very first vote. I just arrived. My dad had died in office. I was appointed to the office. It was my very first vote.
Are you saying you didn't know what you were voting for?
I just arrived to Senate. I think we get some takeovers. That was one. It was my very first vote, and it was 92.5. It was the
with all due respect,
let me just say,
what does that say about you that you're casting a vote for something you weren't really sure about?
I think you're being a little rough. I just arrived at the United States Senate. I've been mayor of my city. My dad had died. I'd been appointed by the governor. It was the first vote, and it was 90-5 because it was a conference report. But let me just say about income inequality. We've had a lot of talk over the last few minutes, hours, tens of minutes, but no one's saying how we're going to fix it. And it all started with the Bush tax cuts that favored the wealthy. So let's go back to the tax code. And 0.6% of Americans are at the top echelon, over 464,000. 0.6 Americans, that's less than 1%, but they generate 30% of the revenue.
Thank you,
and they're doing fine. So there's still a lot more money to be had from this top echelon. I'm saying let's have another tier and put that back into the tax bracket, and that'll generate $42 billion. And then we can help the middle class and hard-earning Americans.
So the thing I honestly believe is that Lincoln Chafee is not a bad policy person, right? He gets it. I really feel like he is an amazing person on laws, but he doesn't have the presentation skills. He doesn't have the people ability. He doesn't have the quote-unquote charisma to be the next president of the United States. But I think any president should keep him on their staff, because I think that he can do all of it in his head, but then when it comes out, it sounds like shit, right? Because, how weak does that look? My dad died, and I was just there, and I was overwhelmed. That can't happen. We can't have a leader like that, and the world sees it, and that's why they're all making fun of him, and his weird choice in tie. It was like a green Christmassy looking tie, and his icky looking suit. But the point is that Lincoln Chafee, I believe, is a person who genuinely understands policy, and I think he really gets it. But I feel as though he's not the strong leader America wants. That's why Donald Trump is so admired, is because he looks so strong. He's a wealthy man. He has, he's tall, he's big, and he has a commanding voice. It's kind of like Reagan would probably be the best example, right? A towering voice, not Mr. Chafee. And Jim Webb gave a response about how he killed somebody. That was weird. I'll actually try to find that clip, and then we're probably going to start winding down. But Jim Webb's response was so odd. I mean, he literally says how he killed the enemy here. Here's the 9-second clip. Let's see if it'll play without an ad, I hope. But it was just interesting. Like, you had the two people in the end who really shouldn't be there, who shouldn't have been there.
I'd have to say the
Here
enemy
it is.
soldier that threw the grenade that wounded me, but he's not around right now to talk to. I'd have to say the enemy soldier that threw the grenade that wounded me, but he's not around right now to talk to. He's not around right now to talk to. He's not around right now to talk to.
Okay, so I played that several times just to make sure that everybody got the gist. So he alludes to killing somebody as the greatest enemy that he has made. And in all honesty, Bernie Sanders' answer was the best one. Lincoln Chafee says, the coal industry. And then Martin O'Malley goes, the NRA. Which was a good answer, and he said it kind of oddly, like he was pissed off. And I honestly think Martin O'Malley, if I had more time on air, I'd definitely say how Martin O'Malley, I think, had a great debate. I think he got, crapped on a little bit, but if we look at his policies, they're not so as liberal as we'd like to think, especially on crime. And if we could just take Bernie Sanders' words and put it in that handsome mouth of Martin O'Malley, we would have a great candidate. I mean, all honesty, wonderful candidate. But that's unfortunately not going to happen. Then we had Hillary Clinton. She had a great answer. She said, the Republicans. She said the big pharma, whatever. And Bernie Sanders said, the typical Wall Street, which was the best answer. I mean, come on, that's what the people wanted to hear. And then Jim Webb said that comment, which was really kind of odd. Anyways, and another great answer that I really just wanted to bring up was that, and Seth MacFarlane clearly liked it because now he's endorsing Bernie, was when Bernie Sanders said the greatest threat to our country is climate change. That had me so happy. But for the next debate, I'm definitely going to do more of a live tweeting session. So for anybody who wants to do, live tweet me during any of the debates, then I'll be sure to respond to all your tweets. We're trying to schedule Lincoln Chafee, and I don't know why his scheduler is so sketched about it. She tells us, we're going to do it, and she never gives me a date set in stone, and dates fly by, and then I ask her again, and it's a really odd situation. And it's, in my mind, like, well, what else is he doing? Because he's Lincoln Chafee, and he has nothing else to do. So why can't he come on Opinion Nation? So tweet at Lincoln Chafee or go on his Facebook page, which, mind you, has less likes than Lloyd Kelso's. And, tell him to come on Opinion Nation. I want to talk to him, and, well, now after that performance, I have a lot of material to talk about. All right. So that's just going to do it for me today. Just to let you know where you can find me. You can always find me on my Twitter at RobinsBryce. That's RobinsBryce. So at RobinsBryce. Always tweet me there. If you haven't followed me on Twitter, stick to your guns. Don't follow me now. I don't like you. Kind of kidding there. Go on our Facebook page, Opinion Nation or Opinion Nation News, or even the Facebook page, Bryce Robbins. And I'll be sure to respond to all comments. I actually got a surge in comments after I was on Red Nation Rising, so it was fun. But I mean, the listeners on the show seem to be pretty active. So keep doing what you're doing, and I'll be sure to contact you guys. So this is Opinion Nation. My name's Bryce Robbins, and have a wonderful Saturday, everybody.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.